Hi everybody and welcome to our main event. It's great to have so many of you here today. So you've joined us for our chemistry chat. Hello, hi everybody. And I'm going to be handing over to Richard Blackburn, who is one of our admissions tutors in the chemistry department. We will have time for Q&As after about a 20-minute chat. So if you have any questions, please do put these in the Q&A box and we will answer those at the end. Over to you, Richard.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. As Lorna's just kindly said, I'm one of the admissions tutors for the School of Chemistry here at the University of Leicester, and it's my pleasure today to run you through our open day, our main event presentation that tells you a little bit about the university and its many fantastic accolades, but also about the school itself and the awards and the honours that we have there. But perhaps most importantly to you, it's going to tell you, why you should pick Leicester as your choice for chemistry and what your course will entail. And of course, again, at the end of the session, I'll be here to answer lots of questions that you might have about the course. And we also have a separate event running where you can talk to some of our current students and other members of staff as well. So really the kind of the top level thing is here, why should you pick the University of Leicester? Well, it's one of the best universities in the UK, and that's a bit of an understatement really, because it's a top 25 university. And ultimately you'll be living, working and studying in a fantastic place. It's a really nice campus layout. We're very close to the city centre and the countryside. It's a sensible place to come and live because it's relatively cheap. In Leicester, that's from your nights out to your accommodation, to your rent, to your utilities. It's a very affordable place to live, which is quite important when you're an undergraduate. You're going to have a really good time here. We've got one of the most fantastic student unions you can imagine. It's got all of your amenities such as refectories, canteens, slightly more up-end places to eat. It's got all the banks, it's got a Starbucks, and perhaps most uniquely, it has its very own O2 arena. So there's, in normal times, a fantastic social scene to be had at the university as well. But think about your studies. The career service that we've got on campus and embedded into all of our courses is absolutely fantastic. And, as the university, 94% of students, it's 100% in the School of Chemistry actually, will actually find meaningful employment or further study rapidly upon graduation. So Leicester University is an absolutely fantastic place to study, and it has been for nearly 100 years now. So that's a little bit about the top line of the university. What about the school itself? Well, the school is centrally located on the main campus, so you've got all of that fantastic students' union on hand, and it's a very short walk into the city centre. The school is also highly ranked. It's a top 25 school of chemistry in the UK, according to The Guardian, and that's partly based on the fact that our students are really, really happy here. We have achieved now over 93% student satisfaction for as long as I've worked here, which is 5 years. So we've done really well in delivering a course for our students that they enjoy and delivering support and an experience that they're really, really happy with. As well as that, our rankings come from the fact that we've got innovative teaching and learning approaches that allow students to not only develop scientific skills, but also practical skills and workplace skills, which again kind of brings us full circle to this concept of we're producing employable graduates. There's many reasons you go to university, we know that, but perhaps one of the most important reasons is so you can get a good job at the end of it. And that's exactly what we do at Leicester. We've designed the course to deliver you that. To make the course interesting and current and to give you that competitive edge when you get to interview, the theoretical aspects of our subject are applied to solving real world and current problems out there in industry, academia and many, many sectors. And What this means is, as I said before, is that at the end of the course, when you start looking for jobs, 100% of the chemistry students will find themselves in a meaningful employment or a master's degree or a different type of postgraduate degree, such as a PhD or a doctorate, within 6 months of graduating from the school. And that is, 100%. You can't get better than that, can you? So that's a really important thing to think about when choosing a university. So the school itself is, a very long established school of chemistry. We have got a school that's got a very strong heritage because we've graduated our first 3 students. It was just 3 back in 1927. And since then, things have really grown. We now have 100 students graduate each year from the UK, and we've actually established our very own satellite campus out in China, and we graduate a further 80 students out in China. So we've gone from teaching 3 students to about 1,000 students at once now, and that's across 2 continents, and that's a pretty special thing. Our research has grown. We've got a world-leading research group spread across 30 different academics, and this cutting-edge research wins us numerous awards. It's helped us establish spin-out companies where our research is applied in the real world, whether it be medical or materials-based or aerospace-based. And this generates vital income for the school that has enabled us to build a very strong set of facilities, and it's enabled us to invest heavily in not only people but also in the space in which we work. And we've got an absolutely beautiful set of laboratories and social spaces and lecture theatres within the school. And this is all because of the strong research that we've been able to upgrade those facilities. And as an undergraduate, it's really important that you remember that those facilities are not just for researchers, they are for everybody. And the reason you are competitive and employable undergraduates is because you've had access to all of this right from day one. You know how to use all of the equipment that the industry is going to expect you to be able to use when you graduate. This research is split into the categories that you see on the right-hand side of your screen there. So we've got people looking in synthesis and catalysis, so making new molecules. These could be for a variety of different applications. Making molecules that can help other molecules be turned into new molecules, so catalysis, reactions that previously couldn't be done, or reactions that were too unenvironmentally friendly to be done until we developed a molecule that could help that. We've got our materials and interfaces group, and here we have people looking at modern battery technologies that can recycle batteries, because that's going to be very important in about 20 years' time, being able to recycle the batteries we're putting into these modern cars. We're looking at chemical biology, so we're looking at drug discovery there, spectroscopy, being able to understand molecules and explore them more closely. Biotechnology, looking at molecularly imprinted polymers that are able to go in and help your immune system or deliver a drug to a very specific site without being consumed in the process. And we've also got people evaluating and researching better ways of teaching chemistry itself. These groups are housed all within 2 buildings on the main campus, but they're also linked to some world-leading research institutes, such as the one for chemical biology, for environmental science, and of course we've got Space Park Leicester as well, where our atmospheric chemists are collaborating heavily in there. The important thing is this research is embedded in the school, and it's embedded in your degrees right from day one, and you're ultimately working towards working for these one of these research groups, working for an academic, and being in charge of your own research project to contribute to the school's research output, to contribute to the school's impact in society. Behind these research groups are, of course, our academics, and the University of Leicester really does attract some fantastic talent, not only in its undergraduates, but also in its staff. The selected colleagues on the slide here will be really happy because I've picked them. The other colleagues with their awards who I haven't picked might be less happy about this slide, but I just wanted to kind of show you some key people in the school from some of the research that I've just spoken about. And you can see that the people that are going to be teaching you, which is every one of our academics, are incredibly well respected within the UK and also within the world. They're all experts in their fields, and they've won awards for not only their teaching but also their research. Thinking about the school as a whole, and indeed the university, we have one of the most diverse student populations in the UK, and the School of Chemistry itself actually has the proud honour of holding an Athena Swan Silver Award in recognition of its contributions to driving forward equality amongst chemists at the university and in the greater community. So the school has a variety of exciting courses to offer you, and we predominantly offer a series of chemistry degrees. So these are degrees which are 75% core chemistry with a 25% flavour towards something that you are particularly interested in. We offer this as chemistry, as just pure chemistry, 100% chemistry, so the flavour there, the supplementary, is even more chemistry. We offer pharmaceutical chemistry, where that flavour is drug discovery, medicinal chemistry, pharmacology. And we also offer for the very first time a chemistry with enterprise degree, where the flavour there is entrepreneurial studies, it's business acumen, accountancy, and small business startup. But all of these degrees are a chemistry degree. That means they're accredited by the Royal Society of Chemistry, and it means that you have a very competitive subject when you come to graduate. All of those courses, including the BScs and the MChems, are available for you to study. Excuse me. It's available for you to study your third year in industry, gaining valuable workplace skills and making valuable connections. And if you're on an MChem course, you can also take a year out to study at one of our fantastic partner institutions around the globe. And I'll tell you more about both those pathways in a slide later on. It doesn't matter what you apply for on UCAS. You'll receive a typical offer of an A and two Bs, or 30 IB points. We do not require A-level maths because we will teach you the maths you require in the first year of study. But we do, however, ask that you have maths at a GCSE grade 6 and above. If your particular offer requirements aren't listed on that slide, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us and we can advise you further. Other thing to really point out here is that it doesn't matter which course you apply for either. When you arrive at university, you can change your course to the one that you've decided since applying is the one that you'd like to study. And you can actually switch between the bachelor's and the master's level, and in fact about 40% of our students do, within the first 2 years of study. So there's lots of flexibility there. So we work with you to make sure you graduate with the options that you would like. The core chemistry that's common to all of those degrees will see you being taught organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry, spectroscopy, and practical techniques as your core study options there. Then depending on which flavour of the degree you've done, and depending on your interests and what you're good at, you'll be able to take optional modules each and every year. These optional modules are listed in the box on the left, and they are closely aligned to the school's research interests. And they're taught by the people who are experts in that field actually doing the research. And you can see that we've got medicinal, catalysis, nanotech, analytical, atmospheric, computational, bioinorganic, biological chemistry, listed as some of the many options that you're able to take at our School of Chemistry. Now, what's a really popular route for students is to actually spend their third year doing something different. And if you're on a BSc or an MChem degree, you can spend that third year in industry. We have a series of partner companies that we consistently send our students to year in, year out. And those companies are very happy to take our students because they know that they're getting competent and well-trained students into their business, and students will make a difference because of that. We have special modules and we have a special support team and a careers tutor that will work with you throughout your second year to help you secure that placement at a top company and to make sure that you really excel and you do well when you're out there as well. If you're on a BSc, it really is just a year out. It's pass fail. If you're on an MChem, then you will take a reasonable chunk of the third year material ready for your return to the fourth year of the MChem program after that placement. Those students on an MChem degree also have the option to study abroad at one of our partner institutions in the US. We've got places available normally in Florida, Ohio, upstate New York, for example, Kansas. We also have places for you to study in Spain, Belgium, Germany, the Czech Republic. You can go and visit China. You can go and study at our campus out there. There's also the option to go down under to Australia. And we also have an institute, a partner institute in Japan as well. Again, what will happen is while you're out in these partner institutions, if it's an English-speaking university or institute like Australia, the US or China, then you will just do a research project for an academic. So if it's an English speaking institution, you will take the modules that are available at those institutions, and we've narrowed it down for you to things that would closely match what you would have done at Leicester anyway. If you go to Europe or Japan, where there is a more significant language barrier, you'll take your theory as distance learning from Leicester, and you'll work in a research group. Apologies for any confusion there. If you go to the US, China, Australia, you'll just be a regular student. If you go to Europe or Japan, you will be working in a research lab and you'll be taking your theory modules via distance learning from Leicester. On all of our degrees, we employ a variety of learning and assessment strategies that we have developed based on best practice and to give you the very best student experience and the very best preparation for your assessments and life in general. We are unlike the modern A-levels in that we assess throughout the year to enable you to build up credit in a very comfortable and relaxed way and to ease the pressure on that final examination. Every piece of work that you hand in will be marked on a one-to-one basis, and you'll be provided with extensive personal feedback, and most importantly, we'll tell you exactly what it is you need to improve upon and how you can access higher marks in your future assignments. And that work comes back to you very quickly and certainly before the next assignment of that type. The degree has a large amount of practical chemistry embedded within it. That's a key requirement of any RSC accredited degree. And we understand for students that it can be daunting to do these synthetic operations. You might not have done them at school. And what we have is we have a subscription for you to simulated versions of each and every one of our experiments. And you can see that pinging away on the screen right now. And these are not replacements to practical chemistry. They are a support mechanism for you to practice the techniques, practice use of instruments in a safe and comfortable environment at home, so that when you get into the session, you're able just to get on with the task at hand. We've also got lots of videos and animations to help you prepare for that, as well as other events that will take place in the school as well. We have a very functional virtual learning environment which enables you to access all of your study materials, including recordings of the lecture. There's discussion boards on there, so you can discuss the content with your tutor and your peers. There's the video lectures, there's also the notes, but we do give you a hard copy of the notes as well. And there's additional practice problems, past exam papers to look at, and links to other exciting resources that will help you with the material. Students at the University of Leicester will receive a subscription to Microsoft Office and all the other chemistry drawing software and chemistry analytical software that we require you to use. That's all provided on us. And we also give you online access to the core chemistry textbooks such as Chemistry Cubed, so that really you don't have to worry about spending vast amounts of money just to be able to study. We've taken care of all that for you. And importantly, when you think about the lab as well, we will provide you with your lab coat, your calculator, your personal protective equipment, and anything else that you need to excel in your studies. So I can't lie to you, chemistry is an intensive course to take. It's about 20 hours a week of contact, but that's a good thing, right, when you think how much money you're spending to come and study at university. And we've managed to maintain our real high levels of contact even during the ongoing pandemic through a variety of important safety measures and the sheer space that we have on campus. In a typical week under normal circumstances, you will have 10 hours of lectures, the majority of which will be core, but you can see about 30% of those lectures are your options that you've picked. And you'll have a day in the teaching laboratory, which can be between about 4 to 6 hours of practical work. And on top of that, we set you around about 6 hours of private study, which is just refreshing your notes and preparing for future teaching events that are going to happen. What that doesn't cover really is the amount of support that we add as well. So this is included within the 20 hours. It's just a separate bit of the table here. Inside that 20 hours, there's also an hour for your tutorial each week. That's a small group teaching event where you meet with your subject tutor and 5 other students, and we will review a set of problems that we have asked you to complete over the weekend before that session. That's your opportunity to ask questions. It's your opportunity to get specific and targeted help with what you're struggling with. And those questions are usually very similar to what's going to be on the exam. Each and every week, you'll have a number of workshops, which are, again, small group teaching activities with either academic staff or some PhD students, and you'll be reviewing problems or tasks associated with the subject matter. And finally, we've got careers activities each and every week. This ranges from CV building exercises, cover letter writing exercises, meetings with the careers tutor, but we also have a number of industrial partners who come onto site and will work with you and basically drill you in what is expected in a technical interview within the science industry. And then I haven't really mentioned what happens in the final year because it's different to the first 3 years, but in the final year you can expect to have tutorials and workshops and core lectures of around about 4 hours a week. The rest of that time is spent in the research labs, working for one of those fantastic academics I mentioned earlier and driving your own independent research project in one of our fields. So we've talked extensively about teaching and research. What I want to kind of finish with now is some of the support mechanisms that we have in place to make sure that you are well supported at university, you're happy, and that you're given every opportunity to get that first-class degree that you're all working towards. You will meet your personal tutor weekly, and you will also have lots of access to staff throughout the various small group teaching events that we hold. If you have a learning disability or any other disability or any issue that is going to affect your studies, we can make adjustments for you. We've got a dedicated centre to recommend to the school what adjustments need to be made to make sure that you are not disadvantaged in your learning. And the school adopts a universal open door policy and office hours on Teams, so in remote learning, to make sure that the staff are always accessible to the students. You can just pop by or dial us up and you can ask for help with some of their material that you're struggling with in your lectures. And don't forget, I've already mentioned that we provide you everything you need to study, you know, notes, lab gear, and IT subscriptions as well. A big part of this support is not only your well-being, but is ensuring that at the end of the degree you leave with something, and you leave with the skill set and the personality traits that make you highly employable. The Leicester graduates are incredibly competitive and they're very well sought after. You've been taught a curriculum that's modern, hands-on, real-world orientated, and you know, you are amongst the very best students when you leave university, and you know a lot more than others, and you're able to use a lot of equipment that others simply cannot use. You might have picked up additional skills on an industrial placement. Not everybody wants to go on placement. And what we do also do, remember, is we bring industry into the school to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to, you know, meet their future interview panel and to learn exactly what is expected of them. Now, I'm going to sum up the school now, then I'm just going to finish with a couple of advices about applying and again, why you should come to Leicester. In terms of summing up, we've got very exciting and we've got flexible courses, which means you can study at the level you wish to study, and to a certain extent you can study the stuff that interests you. There's fantastic industrial and international partnerships, meaning that you can have a really interesting year out experience in year 3. We're all world leading researchers here at Leicester, and we're going to be teaching you. Nobody only researches, we all are student facing. We stick heavily to small group teaching. We're unusual in that regard, in that tutorials and problem classes happen for all 4 years of the main degree programmes. We really care about our students and we're here to support them. This is reflected not only on a day-to-day basis with excellent module feedback, but an external company for the last 5 years has proven that to everybody. We've got astounding national student satisfaction in the National Student Survey. And of course, you've got excellent graduate prospects as you leave. If you really like the sound of all that, and I think you really should like the sound of all that, it is an absolutely fantastic place to work, live and to study, and you want to apply to Leicester, then it couldn't be more simple. Obviously, most of you will be looking at applying through UCAS. There's links to do just that on the university web pages. And remember, the typical offer for chemistry is an A and 2 Bs. If you can't apply through UCAS for whatever reason, then you can contact me and my colleagues on the email address on the slide. And again, those email addresses and telephone numbers are all pasted throughout our various web pages for chemistry. And we can, you know, support you with that application process in whatever way that you need us. When you're writing your personal statement, the thing I'm looking for there is a passion for chemistry, an awareness of what's going on in the modern scientific industry, and basically somebody who is a rounded individual who not only likes chemistry, but is going to get involved with the other things that we have going on at the university, such as our student societies, our sporting events, and is basically going to turn up, work hard, and, you know, make the most of being a citizen of the University of Leicester. It's an absolutely fantastic time to join the university. We will soon be celebrating our centenary, and there's lots of exciting events going on campus, and we've been here for 100 years, and no doubt we're going to be doing just as many great things in the next 100 years. That's the end of my formal presentation, and I nearly stuck to time. I think I was about 5 minutes over. But, you know, anybody who's taught by me knows I like to chat. And what is important there now is that we'll revert back to the Teams room, and you'll be able to ask any questions. I believe you can just type those questions in, and Lorna's going to pass them forward to me. Over to you, Lorna.
Thanks, Richard. That was a really good introduction to chemistry. I studied psychology at Leicester, I've graduated now, and I completely agree with everything that you said. The university is really supportive. It has a great social scene, and there's also lots of opportunities to get involved in research, like you mentioned. We have got one question. If anyone else in the room has any, please do post these in the live event Q&A. But for the first question, they've asked, how are current students finding it with the mixture of learning both on campus and also online?
Okay, sorry for the pause there. I was just making sure I was live and that everyone could hear me. So we've been obviously forced into a new modus operandi currently with the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. And we've been regularly temperature checking all of our students in the school to make sure that the adjustments that we have put in place are working. I mean, this is part of what we do anyway, but we are also, proud to say we've got a learning enhancement research group who's looking at this very closely as well. Throughout the summer, what we did is we kept our students up to date. We held a number of Teams Live events, actually, which has proved very helpful for the day. We've held a number of Teams Live events where students were told what was happening, students were able to ask questions about what was happening, and that really allowed us to build this Ignite program within chemistry that meant that everything we've done has worked really, really well because we plan for it very carefully, as we do with all of our studies. The students are actually getting a little bit more than they used to, because what we're doing is our lectures are the things that we cannot do anymore because we can't gather 100 students in a lecture theatre. The lecture theatres seat 100, we can't socially distance. So what we're doing is we're actually doing shorter lecture videos online, and students can watch those in their own time. At a time that suits them. So gone is the 9 a.m. lecture that everybody dreads. But what we are doing is, in addition to those, is we're actually meeting our students online after every couple of lectures, and we're going through problems, we're going through questions that students are having. And that's something that you didn't have before. And that's something that Ignite's enabled us to do, is that we can actually now capitalise on our interactions live on the Microsoft Teams or a virtual learning environment to actually really deliver more. This week, actually, we are meeting all of our students face-to-face on campus for their tutorials. So what we've done is we've taken our lecture theatres, which can seat 100, and now we're having our tutorials with 6 to 10 students in the lecture theatre. Everybody's socially distanced. And labs has carried on. We have been able to take advantage of a large number of the large size of our space, and we've been able to carry on with the practical chemistry. And this is what students really like. They're still getting a full degree. They're on campus at least 2 days every week for theory teaching in a tutorial or to visit the teaching lab. They typically have 1 day a week of each of those. And the students really enjoy it, actually. They like the flexibility that this has built them. Many of them have enjoyed the fact that they can learn at their own pace and that they can have more targeted interactions with the academics. And the feedback we've had is that they're really impressed with how the school stepped up and has actually put them first and been able to still deliver the student experience that they want. And as instructors, we quite like it as well, because the stuff that we're doing with students is so much more personal than before, because we're able to actually talk about questions, and the labs is like normal, really, just with a bit more PPE. You can ask a real student later on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add as well. Thanks, Richard. Richard has told you quite a bit about how students find it, but if you want to talk to a student today, you can do that by going over to the UniBuddy subject chat, and you'll find a student there. You can quiz them on their day-to-day life and how they're finding it, and they'll be more than happy to answer those for you. I've got a question about the year in industry and how it's sort of determined whether the student passes or they fail the year in industry, if you're able to go into a bit more detail about that.
Yeah, of course. So you have to be quick in these talks. So let me start with the BSc. So if you're on a BSc year in industry, that's pass fail, and it's very low work effort in terms of your academic studies, because what will happen is whilst you're out on placement, you just need to engage with a number of tasks and really keep a diary about what it is you've been doing whilst on placement. Providing you engage with the task, which are just, filling out the skills you're learning, the training courses you've been on, reporting your day-to-day activities, providing you keep up to date with, I believe they call it a log, providing you keep up to date with that, then you will pass the year. And it really is just an academic in the school, such as myself, who will be your contact, will come and visit you and check in on you from time to time. We'll just determine that you have engaged, and providing your company's happy, you will get a pass for the year, and we will change your degree title to feature with a year in industry. If you're on the MChem program, then what you have to do is you have to do some of the theory work. So the really important third year theory you will have to engage with remotely. And it's not all of it, because we know that you're working, so we give you a manageable chunk of what's absolutely essential for your fourth year, and you will engage with that remotely online, and you will have to take the exam. Typically, you'll take it in industry, but you can come back to campus and you'll take the exam at the end of the module, and you'll do the coursework as you go along through the module. And in addition to that, you have to write up your master's project. You have to write a report which basically talks about the science that you've been engaging with while you're out on placement. Again, you're supported by an academic. We'll come out and visit you a couple of times, and we'll make sure that you're keeping up with your theory work and you know exactly what has to go into that scientific report at the end.
Thank you. We've got another question relating to the year in industry, asking about how the university can help with transport to and from. Thought it might be a good idea to sort of start with where the placements could be. Are they necessarily in Leicester, or could they be further afield? It's probably a good place to start.
Okay, well, we actually have a number of students who are on placement this year, despite what's going on. Life goes on. Industry has adapted in a slightly different way to academia in kind of shift work. So they've changed their working hours slightly so that they can get everybody into their lab space safely. But yeah, the industry placements go on. We're anticipating, we've had a student get a placement already this year, and we've only been going a couple of weeks. Companies are still going on. There's obviously right now a slightly larger drive for chemistry, particularly drug discovery right now, and they're hiring. In terms of places you can go, it's nationwide. We have a couple of places within Leicester. We have a couple of our spin-out companies actually on the campus who have taken students from time to time. And now we typically see people, there's a couple of companies at Nottingham called Signature and LGC. There's a company down in, it's not Northampton, it's Wellingborough. It's just above Northampton. There's a company down in Wellingborough which take our students. There's lots of companies such as AstraZeneca, GlaxoSmithKline and Pfizer, which are in Cambridge and Cambridgeshire. And then you've also got the big AstraZeneca site up at Macclesfield as well. They tend to be the key places that we see people going, but also, if you can get an industrial placement abroad, some people have been to the Netherlands in recent years, and we will push placements towards you that we're aware of. But if you find something that you know of, then you can apply for that as well. It's an open process.
Good stuff, thank you. So we don't have a huge amount of time for questions, but hopefully this one will be quite quick. How many students are there on the course at Leicester?
At Leicester, we typically take somewhere between 120 students and 100 students each year. Typically, our class size has been about 105, 107 the last 3 years. And we normally find about 60 to 70 of those students will do chemistry. We have around about 30 on the pharmaceutical chemistry strand, and we're anticipating that the remaining 20 will be on the chemistry with enterprise. So although you think, actually, I'm going to be learning only 7 hours a week, will you be learning as 105 of you in the big lecture theatre in normal times? When you're doing your optional modules, the class sizes are anywhere between 20 and 65.
Thank you. So I'm going to finish with one final question. If your question hasn't been answered on this live event, don't worry. We have a live UniBuddy chat going on where we have admissions tutors and also students. So you can head over there, ask any questions that you have, and they will be answered. But quite a nice one, I think, to finish with in preparation for starting university is, are there any books or papers that you would recommend to new students?
So we never expect our students to turn up to university knowing everything, and we never expect them to have read this or read that. What I would recommend is, if you can get yourself a copy of something like Chemistry Cubed, which is a book that covers all of first year chemistry, so I, O and P. That's a good place to start reading, but I'm not going to go out there and say buy that book, because we have a free online subscription of it. What we do is we send our students a welcome pack in August when they have got into Leicester on results day, and that contains effectively a series of notes which are somewhere between A level and university level, and it's a really good place for you to start if you want to kind of start thinking about what you need to think about. But Chemistry Cubed or waiting for those study books. But really, the best thing you could do is just pick up your A-level revision guide in September and just read it again so that you remember the stuff. We've designed the course to follow on from A-level and IB. Just pick up your revision notes in September and have another read of them. Everybody starts off with general chemistry, and that general chemistry is it's a compensatory module. We all know you've come on different qualification routes, different exam boards, and that first 6 weeks is a boot camp, if you like, in making sure that everybody knows what they need to know for the proper degree. And that's the Leicester ethos. We know everybody comes on different backgrounds, different experiences. Within the first 6 weeks, we just bring you all to the same standard, which is a good standard. It's, I'd say, an excellent standard, and then we begin the degree proper.
Lovely stuff, thank you. So we've had lots of questions, and thank you for going through those. If you have any questions left after this chat, or you go away, you have some brunch and decide that you have something that you haven't had answered, please do come back and join us on our subject chats. We are running out of time, so thank you very much everybody for joining us. We've really enjoyed being able to talk to you about chemistry, answer the questions that you've had. And we'll hopefully be seeing some of you in the not too distant future. So thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Head over to the main event page. And yeah, thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I don't really have much more to add that Lorna hasn't already said already. I will actually be in the UniBuddy chat as well today. So if you have a burning desire to ask me that question, then I will be there as well. But perhaps the most important person to talk to is Nikita, our current undergraduate student. And I appreciate you might be looking at other subjects today, or you have other things to do today. You can always reach out to us and get in contact on UniBuddy or by direct email. It's all on the web, and we will answer inquiries throughout the year.